Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. All right, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the 108th episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. This is Loki's Losers, the podcast burdened with glorious purpose. It is I, Colton Robertson, and I am joined by my good friends, Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up? Is free will even a thing anymore? We'll talk about it.
That's a nice little tease there, Joe. Thank you very much. Hello, Miles Buttress. What's up?
Doing good, man.
Oh, I'm glad.
Great episode.
Fucking
Great show.
Phenomenal. No, like the ending of this episode made me go, oh, okay.
It's going about 1,000 times faster than I thought it was going to.
I thought that was an end of the series thing, and they were like, "This is
end
the end
of the
series."
series, maybe like end of episode like 4, maybe 5. That we get like a couple like build the story up, build the stakes. Not all right. Let's get right fucking into it.
The multiverse is bombed.
Yeah,
hello,
let's
Kyler.
end it.
Hello, Kyler Barnett. What's up, homie?
Oh, nothing, man. I'm ready to talk about it.
Let's talk about it. The second episode of Loki, titled The Variant, directed by Kate Herron. Fucking great. Loved it so fucking much. Joe, how'd you feel about it?
Oh, it was just kind of everything you wanted in an episode. We had so many different scenes. We got so many different things kind of touched on. We had some really cool Loki moments, some really cool, potentially huge, moments. Like MCU moment. Yeah. Like this could be kind of like
a huge, like the setting up point for Phase 4. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what really launches it.
Did anyone get the idea that at first she was just going to blow up like that mall? And it was just going to be like a big explosion that somehow did something. Did you think that it was going to like, they were all going to teleport to different areas?
Well, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I think that what happened was always the intention. You know what I'm saying? Like that was what she wanted to do.
Oh, no, totally. Yeah. But like, I just, while watching, I was like, oh, she's just going to blow up this mall. And then I was like,
nice.
Oh.
It was nice getting me and Kyler's suspicions confirmed with the idea that it is just a radius within a certain point of the Nexus event that gets vaporized, not the entirety of this entire world.
And it's not even the world gets destroyed. It's just the variant part of the world.
It's the things that have been affected by the
And
also,
if it comes to a real person, it comes to a real person. Like that just happens. Like it's
I also really like that they confirm like that red line is like you're fucked.
There is no fixing it. Like there is no eliminating that timeline. It is set once it reaches the red line. And it looks like we're about to have 11 timelines hit the red line.
It looked more like that.
I think it's just
I counted what were on screen, but like
I'm thinking it's gonna be because whenever they showed like the get to know the TVA thing and they showed it reaching the red line, it showed a bunch of other things like breaking off of it. So I think that it showed the 11, but I think it's just like
every timeline that's branching off has branches too. Yeah. Like it's like everything is descending into chaos. Kyler, how'd you feel about the episode?
I really liked it. I don't know. I guess I was not ready for how hard hitting the last like 15 minutes of the show was going to be. It was a little like, I'm not going to say slow, but it was a little bit like, I don't know. I guess off after the first episode, the second episode, just that start seemed a little slower for me. And then, dude, just those last 15 minutes, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was like, I hit up Joe in the group chat saying like, I'll be on at 7:45 at the rate these notes are going. And it took me like 15 minutes over because I had to take note of like everything in the last 15 minutes because it is all important and it's all happening really fast. And it's like, it's a lot. And there's a lot of things we've gotten right.
Well, and how refreshing is it after WandaVision and how drug out like some of the things we were waiting all season to see got taken into the last episode, and then this show we thought something was going to take it all the way to the end, and like you said, Colton, end of episode 2, boom, right there.
Yeah.
How about a reveal?
Already here. Miles, how'd you feel about it?
Well, one, kind of continuing on what Kyler said, I started this episode, Wednesday? Wednesday during my lunch break at work. I was like, you know what? I get a 30 minute to an hour lunch break, depending on how long I take. Or I could take longer than that, but that's like how long I usually take so I can leave earlier. I was like, all right, I'll watch like 30 minutes of the episode and then watch the rest whenever I get home. Got to that point and I was like, well, fuck me. I guess I'm just going to take a long lunch break today and I'm going to finish the episode.
Well, it hits the gas.
Yeah, because it got to that point and I was like, oh, so this is the episode right here.
Well, and it really started in that scene when like Mobius and Loki really start firing on all cylinders together. They're like really excited to be working together, even regardless of what
it started from.
It
started from Loki saying that no one that is ever truly evil is all truly evil, and no one that's ever truly good is ever truly good. Like all truly good. Like it all started from that, which is kind of.
Although, so I do have a question.
But what did Mobius get from that? Like, what
Well,
made
it wasn't that specifically. It was the little boy thing. It was the like you called me a scared little boy. You were wrong, and that made him think of the scared little girl who handed him the kablooey in the first episode.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I do have a question though. So we're talking about how like from what I picked up from this episode, I don't think the timelines hitting the red line is necessarily like what causes the multiverse. I think the multiverse already exists. It's just like currently the multiverse is all running on the same timeline with slightly different like variances and like how the characters in essence. But because of the fact that there's like the female Loki or the big jacked Loki and all that stuff, the multiverse already exists. It's just the same. Like the appearances might be different, but the same events happen. Whereas now I think we're going to see like different, like vastly different timelines in the multiverse.
I think this is kind of a way that they're confirming softly that there was a multiverse and it was all going in the same direction, but now universes are colliding with other universes. It's not that the timeline, is breaking off. It's like each universe had their own timeline, and the timekeepers, or whatever they are, was just, because what better way to stop a multiversal war than to tell people that there's no longer a multiverse? But in reality,
every version of the TVA is told they have a sacred timeline.
Exactly. So each sacred timeline, and the red line is whenever it's two universes are colliding now. That's no, because
I don't think there are multiple versions of the TVA. I think there's only one TVA because this TVA is dealing with with the multiverse because they're dealing with a male Loki, a female Loki, all the different versions of Loki. So I think what they're doing is all the multiverses are running on the sacred timeline. Or running on a version of the sacred timeline or whatever.
It would make sense if like the way they organize the multiverse into one singular timeline is to make every multiverse experience the same event.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then
timeline.
Yeah, and then what's happening now is whenever she did that, and now it's causing all of the multiverses to fracture off of this sacred timeline, and they're actually returning to what I would assume their timeline should be.
Or not maybe what should be, but like what was going to be. Like
that's what I mean whenever I say should be. I mean they're branching off to their multiverse's correct timeline or whatever, and not the sacred timeline that they've been kind of forced onto.
That makes a lot of sense. How about we jump in to a semi scene by scene breakdown that I have taken notes of, and we can do the usual drill. You stop me whenever you hear something you want to talk about, and we'll expand upon it. But in the meantime, shall I get into it?
Let's just jump into it, man.
Let's jump into it. We open on a Renaissance fair in 1985, and it's like, oh fuck yeah, let's get into it, baby. And the Minutemen show up, and one of the people working there is like, this means something to some of us. You don't have to make
Some of
fun
us need this.
This line right here, whenever I like you saying it right now and thinking back on it, this seems like a what's his fucking name? The dude that wrote all the comics and stuff.
Stanley.
This seems like a Stan Lee line. Like if Stan Lee was still alive, he would be it would be his character being like, "Hey, this means something to some of us."
Well, and it also felt like a little bit of a break the fourth wall moment. Like,
yeah.
Marvel has its fans, and there are people who dress up as these characters at Comic-Con, and it's like, don't make fun of people and their interests. Some of us need this, It's like
we're gonna get fucking people who are dressing up in TVA outfits now.
Damn, Miles, you just made me have a sad thought. Is that we're gonna see scenes in Marvel where we're gonna be like, "Dang, that was supposed to be the Stan Lee cameo."
That would actually be really cool if they kept having like Stan Lee cameos without Stan. Yeah, like a moment where it's like that would be Stan Lee.
I'll have to re-examine some of the stuff from like WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier in that lens and see if I can find anything. Yeah. But in 1985, this Renaissance Fair, we see our hooded variant attack a group of Minutemen once again, but this time taking one captive, which they have not done before. We then cut to see Miss Minutes giving Loki a lesson in the TVA. She's like pushing all this propaganda on him, and he's like, "I'm just going to keep reading my jet ski magazine. You can keep going on and on." He's like, "So are you real or are you AI? What's the deal?" And she's like, "I'm kind of both." And it's like, okay, everything surrounding you, Miss Minutes, is a little foggy, and I don't know anything about you. You're weird. But, Loki keeps smarting off at her, trying to hit her with the magazine. And Mobius comes up and picks Loki up and takes him to a briefing. And in this briefing, it provides us with the information that the TVA deals with all sorts of Lokis all of the time. Potentially more than any other variant there is. So this was another thing that I know was mentioned last week by one of us. Someone said, what if there's just a bunch of Lokis and they deal with them all the time? And that's exactly what happens. And I think Miles' theory up at the front of the episode is the best to explain this, and I think it is ultimately what is happening. It's a bunch of multiverses experiencing the same events, and when the sacred timeline is broken, they branch off into what their timeline should be,
I really love that they're like, yeah, no, we deal with you a lot because you're kind of an asshole, Loki.
Do you think one of these Lokis was Matt Damon's Loki?
I would love that to be yeah.
Oh, I hope we get him again. I could see it.
I'm pretty sure he's in it. I'm pretty sure he's in this.
I don't think he's in this. I think he's in
He's in Love and Thunder though.
Yeah, he's in Love and Thunder for sure.
Yeah. But this briefing, they're talking about how they're going to approach the mission, and Loki again has to be the smartest one, saying, he's superior to this other Loki, and he explains how, this power is different than that power, and they're like, okay, buddy, that's really not important right now, but that's cool and all. Let's go ahead and move on. And they break down this meeting, and Loki talks to Mobius about how, why are you not concerned when we get out there whether I'll use my magic or not? Like, you're not afraid I'm going to betray you? And he explains, like, if you do, we'll just find you. Like, it's not you already know that. That's why you won't do it. And I like how that kind of gets kind of nixed by the end of this episode. It's like, aha, maybe you won't be able to find me. You know what I'm saying? But Mobius alludes to the idea that Loki may get an audience with the Timekeepers one day, even though Mobius has no line to the Timekeepers, which comes up later in this episode. It's like he has no direct contact with them whatsoever. He has no way of making this promise to Loki, but it keeps Loki in the loop longer enough to be like, okay, maybe I'll ride this thing out a little bit more.
Do you think the Judge has ever seen the Timekeepers either?
I get the impression
she talks as if she's interacted with them in some way.
I don't buy that.
I feel like they all talk about
that. Let's talk about that more later when her scene comes up.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm with you there. I really don't think. But they head through this time door to the same Renaissance Fair in 1985, and Loki mouths off to Mobius about the exhausting propaganda that the TVA keeps pumping at everyone. And he gets quizzed on what he's learned in the propaganda, and he tells us that reset charges prune the affected radius of a branch of timeline. And he says it's pretty much a friendly way of saying, everything affected in the vicinity is disintegrated. And, Loki's like, I told you, I watched some of them. I saw enough to know what I'm dealing with. And they make their way into that same tent we saw earlier, and there they find the same signs as before, but this time with a twist. Hunter C-20 is gone, and B-15's like they wouldn't have just got the jump on her like that. Like, that doesn't happen. But when they all make their move to leave the tent, Loki tells them to wait. He begins to go on about how he sees a scheme, and in that scheme himself. He says that if they leave, they'll meet the same fate, and Mobius wants to hear him out, and Hunter B-15's like, yo, this is bullshit. And Loki says, we have a saying in Asgard, where there are wolves' ears, wolves' teeth are near. He says it means to be aware of your surroundings. He explains that the TVA is like the gods of Asgard's, one and the same, drunk with power, blinded to the truth. He says they underestimate him, just as they underestimate this lesser Loki. Mobius tells him to hurry the fuck up, basically, and Loki says, it's a trap. He's waiting for you outside the tent. He says he can deliver, and he's like, I can deliver you this variant with some assurances. That being, I don't die. And then Loki pushes it one too far. It's like, okay, you almost had him, and then you had to. This was straight up dumb on Loki's part to go, we need to speak to the timekeepers at once. They are in greater danger than we thought. It's like, that's like, even I knew that was one too far, man. And I'm just a dude watching TV. Like, you're the god of mischief? Come on, you can do better than that. And I guess that ultimately is him just banking on the idea that Mobius is a dumbass and that the TVA are dumbasses. And it's still him thinking, I'm just that much smarter than everyone. It doesn't matter what I think. They'll just buy it. That's my opinion. Like, it's that lingering bit of cocky Loki still there.
Maybe, can we talk about these reset charges maybe a little bit more? Like, what technology or power is being used that does this?
The way the technology looks is super fucking cool. That lava,
like, it's nothing we've ever seen before.
Oh, absolutely not. So it's like, it is a brand new thing, and I'm assuming we will learn more about the actual.
Do you think this ties to anything?
No.
I'm assuming. I don't. I'm thinking it could tie to the power of whoever created the TVA.
Yeah, I meant no, as in like no, it doesn't tie to anything we've ever seen before. Because I think all of this is related to.
You don't think this is like chaos magic, like
no,
even in the
it's
slightest?
kind of like the pruning things, or like the power. Whenever he walked in the first episode, it says like, so this is the greatest power in the universe. I think this is just power on a whole different level.
Yeah, it's just a completely different thing. But Mobius calls Loki on the bullshit here. He's like, okay, he's lying. Go ahead. We can leave. And they go ahead and reset the timeline, head back through the time door and go on their way. And we watch as the reset charge prunes the timeline. And back at the TVA, we see the timeline reset, and Hunter C-20 is MIA. Next, we're in the office of the Judge Ravana, who we met in the premiere, and Mobius sits with her asking why he can't keep any of the trinkets from the missions that he brings in. And she's like, well, I'm the one who sets the missions. And I think we built a little bit on this rapport they have. But again, I don't think it's romantic the way you had thought once. I think it really is just Owen Wilson's character is he's trying to charm the pants off her so he can do what he wants. Like, that's all.
Cowboy.
Yeah, I want to be a cowboy, baby. But she calls him on his bullshit after Mobius has just called him Loki on his. She asks what happened with this variant and why is he being such a dumbass about it, basically. And he retorts that getting to know this Loki better helps them find the Loki they're after. And she tells him that she knows he has a soft spot for broken things, but that Loki is evil, and that's all he is. That's all he'll ever be until, the timekeepers say otherwise. And, Mobius is like, how are the old timekeepers? And fucking, this was the first fishy response where she goes, oh, what?
This is some WandaVision type, like, downplaying. Like, that's what it reminds me of. Like, the...
Oh,
She says, she says, like, how do you think? It's like, well, how the fuck would I know? You're the one who's in direct contact with him. Don't retort that back on me. But, here, she tells him that the timekeepers have never been so involved. They want this variant caught. And Mobius is like, well, so do I. And they part their ways, but it's like, I smell bullshit coming out of this storyline. I don't think she's ever had contact with the timekeepers. And if she did, it was once a while ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not consistently in contact with the timekeepers.
What is up with Marvel and these like huge deities that end up just being fake? Like, look at like Captain Marvel and what was I forget what it was called now.
Oh yeah, the Supreme Intelligence or whatever.
Yeah, it's just they play, dude. We get these kinds of shits all the time.
Go ahead.
Do we all agree that this timekeeper thing is all a front for something bigger? Like,
it's not 100% true. That's all I can really say for sure, in my opinion. Otherwise, it's just theory at that point. But I can say with most of my certainty that this is in some way bullshit.
Do we think that the 3 lizard people, do we think that is the false part?
I think at best there are actually 3 of them and they're just up to some funky shit. And at worst, it's only it's only Kang just doing fuck shit to try and control everything. And if it is the best case, and if there's 3 of them, I think this is what causes Kang to be like, all right, fuck this bullshit. I'm going out and conquering some timelines.
What's the point though? At that point,
I'm saying if there's 3 of them, and then he would, and like with everything falling apart, he would then be like go off on his own.
What do you mean? What's the point though? Like
he controls everything, literally, like down to the event.
Yeah, but I was saying if there's 3 of them,
actually, like if Kang the Conqueror is involved in some way, it drastically changes my theory. I think that they don't have control over whatever's happening, and he's giving them the illusion. He's giving them the illusion that he does. You know what I'm saying?
But then how is it down to this exact accuracy of all these apocalypses?
See, I have no idea. And that's the thing is that like we just have not been given enough information to like properly theorize.
I think they actually can kind of control like the sacred timeline, but I don't think with all of the fuck shit that's happening now, I think they will lose that control. And that's why I'm saying I think Kang will go off on his own and try and start conquering timelines to then bring it back into the sacred timeline. And in the process, fuck a bunch of shit up. But I think that what female Loki has done is gonna fuck up all the timekeepers' plans and stuff.
Okay, with what's happened in this episode that we didn't think was gonna happen, what do you think is gonna happen in this next episode?
Dude, I'm at a point now.
This fast pace. And
here's my thing: is that like next episode we meet another Loki. I guarantee, 100% we meet another Loki at this point. Like that has to be where we go this quickly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that has to be the reason we're escalating so quickly is so we can get all this multiversal shit, kind of introduce us to that idea and really expand upon it. Like, I think that's why we're really here is to learn about the multiverse.
Did you, when the
I love it. I'm all the way here for them using Loki as like kind of like the setup for the multiverse and like how it's going to function. Like, Loki is the perfect character to give like an Epcot ride of a show about how something that is so vastly important to what Marvel like this phase is going to be about. Loki is the perfect fucking person for that.
Absolutely. And especially with the setup we've gotten with the idea that there are tons of Lokis that are always the variants and they're always up to some shit that is fucking something up. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And I love, when Mobius exits the office, Loki immediately tries to cover his ass. He's like, first thing to learn when chasing a Loki, expect the expected.
I loved
this.
I love that his energy is back. Like, he seems like so like cracky.
He's back. Yeah.
Whatever happened to Loki that didn't talk or didn't like to talk?
Who's the Loki I met on the elevator? Yeah. What the fuck, man?
But you notice in the title card, when it's Loki and all the changing letters, but then L is the same every time. It's the same L every time, but every other letter changes.
I have not noticed that the L remains the same.
The L was the same every time. And I don't know if this is a way of them saying, like, it's next episode, the O might stay the same. Maybe it's like going to one version of Loki sort of thing. I don't know.
Oh,
and
it's interesting.
I don't know. Like,
it would be very Loki, especially this Loki, for their goal to be I'm
be
gonna
the only
be the only
Loki.
Loki. Like that.
Oh, that
but,
makes total sense.
but that's the thing is that's what's confusing is that I don't know how to separate the character development we've already gotten with the version of the character we're at. You know what I'm saying? Like that just hasn't become clear yet exactly where he stands. And I think that's part of the point, you know, like
Loki is trying to be the only Loki. The Loki that we know, the variant Loki in the variant jacket, he is trying to be the only Loki.
Tom Hiddleston Loki.
That is his goal, and he just can't tell. And he can't tell a single Loki about it. Obviously.
I don't think it's like a he means he's doing one thing and he's got all these other things going. I think it's I have all of these plans, and if one of them happens to open up, I'm going to go do that one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I think if this TVA shit is real and the timekeepers are real and he can actually get an audience with the timekeepers and he can actually that is what he would do if he had that opportunity. He's like, I would absolutely try to overthrow the TVA. However, I don't buy that that's his only plan. You know what I'm saying?
And think about how many people he smooth talked his way into their good graces and been given incredible power. Yeah. This man smooth talked Thanos into letting him try to get an Infinity Stone. He's like that. He could go convince Kang to let him be a fucking goon
lieutenant.
Or yeah,
an honorary timekeeper. There will be 4 timekeepers after Loki talks to him. 3 lizard people and an Asgardian.
Though, what would
Loki say?
I love the idea that
too?
Loki comes up with really broad strokes plans and then and just improvises along the way. And I think it's clear that that's kind of what he does. He's clearly not a plotter. He doesn't come out. He doesn't Palpatine this shit. And he's like, well, if this doesn't work, I have a contingency plan. He truly
thought about staying, instead of leaving at the end. He truly thought about it. He was like, this is actually a hard decision. Do I stay with the TVA or do I go with this mysterious ass Loki that just started?
Well, and that's the thing is, I think it comes down to
this fine ass Loki
that I'm definitely going to fuck.
It comes down to what he believes is true. It's do I believe that I can properly wreak chaos with this other Loki of me? Or do I think that I can actually rule the sacred timeline? And after seeing what she's done, he goes, oh, well, I have to go with her. The TVA is done for. You know what I'm saying? He's that's officially dead.
He's reading the writing on the wall, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
It took one first impression. He's like, damn, she's really built.
This is more of a survival step.
Damn, the TVA really can't fuck with her shit. I better hop on that wave.
Better hop on this train.
Yeah. Damn, they can't fuck with her shit and she's hot? I'm just gonna go with her. Get some Loki on Loki action.
Mobius and Loki go back and forth here. And Loki's like, I've been playing a game all along. And Mobius is like, oh, what was it? Charm your way in front of the timekeepers, take them out, seize control of the TVA, and Loki's face is like, oh, so that's that obvious? And Mobius is like, oh, a lie from history's most reliable liar.
A double cross. Wow. Yeah, wow.
You just
never seen Ocean's 11. Shit. Wow.
No, Joseph, have you ever seen Thor Ragnarok? The joke has already been made about Loki once. The same exact joke has already been made with Thor.
I don't know. If Loki and Girl Loki don't get together romantically or sexually, I hope there's a joke alluding to it. I hope that...
I love that you were you moved on from that too quickly, Colton. I must bring it back to this.
No. It's not that. It's just
well, it had to be because it was not related at all. Continue.
Joseph, I'm going to continue to throw him out there to try and help you out.
But you know what I mean?
The pain in his face.
The pitiful.
I love you, Joe. I love you.
So if there are multiple versions of Loki running around, when do we see the other versions of Ultron running around?
That's true.
There's got to be another Ultron out there. Maybe this is the key. Maybe this is what Joseph's been predicting all along. The multiverse opens up the opportunity.
Multiverse Ultron comes back and rules it all. Takes over. Yay!
Ultron is a timekeeper.
He is all.
Not gonna happen, but if it somehow did happen and it was like Ultron was somehow involved at all, I'm not watching a single thing made by Disney ever.
I will
again.
go to Disney and write them a check for $1 billion.
I will.
Like,
You know what?
that.
They're gonna need it because I will burn Disney to the ground.
Good, because I don't have that much to pay them, so I will need them to be gone.
Oh my god.
I like this back and forth here with Mobius and Loki about how, like, he just felt bad for the little ice runt who was crying, shivering in the cold. Or, maybe I just will tell you things as I need to tell you, But, like, it was obviously, like, he meant that first thing and he also meant that second thing. Like, and I loved referring to him, like, because Mobius does know everything about Loki's life, beginning to end, as far as he knows it. He's seen him born on Jotunheim, being left shivering in the cold, crying, and he is an ice runt. He's clearly not a frost giant by shape. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What if
Rip.
he's also seen the extended version of Loki's life where he comes back into the sacred timeline after the timekeepers allow him to continue to live?
I mean, there is that possibility. I'm not eliminating that possibility.
Okay,
But,
I think that the scene where Loki signed everything he's ever said was a very important scene. Like, it's Marvel's way of telling us that they don't know the future of this Loki, or else they would have more of what he said, and it wouldn't be printing out as he said it. Like, this is an up-to-date Loki that
I
is
get what you're saying.
not in the works. Like,
Because they can't see the futures of the variants.
Of the variants,
Is what
yeah,
you're
he's
saying.
officially a variant, so now they don't know what he'll do next.
like that's actually a good way to kind of solidify that, like, imprinting like what he's saying and just showing like they don't have what he's going to say, sort
now,
of thing.
like,
yeah.
he is officially now, as a variant operating within the TVA, one of the only beings, as far as we know it, with free will.
That's true. Whoa. That's like what? So like every Avenger, like, is basically just a character.
What is that noise? Do you hear that?
No. Maybe
Was
the
that your car
maybe the
going by,
timekeepers are freaking Stan Lee, and he's writing the universe, and the Avengers are just his characters. And that's what this is all coming to. It's just going to break the fourth wall.
I don't know. That's a distinct possibility. Sorry, there was just a freaky ass noise that happened at my house, and
wow.
I'm a bit freaked out at the moment. So
Can you describe the noise?
it sounded like a deep, deep rumbling happening, like right outside this window behind me, and I have no idea what it was.
Is Kang there? Is he coming to conquer?
Oh, it was an airplane. Okay, cool. An airplane flying very well. There's an airport.
Okay,
right over here.
I was just thinking. I was like, why?
Maybe
why is
Kang
an
just
airplane
landed.
flying that close? Yeah, Kang just landed. He's coming by.
Just landed. He's going to say
Okay,
hi.
we're cool now. I was just a little freaked out, and if you guys heard the rumble, like it was shaking something in my house. Like,
Oh,
there was
wow.
something on my wall, like, and I was like, "Oh wow, what's going on? Is there an earthquake or something?" But shall I jump back into this review or this breakdown?
Let's jump back into
I guess
it.
so.
Yeah, I
But
guess.
Loki gets to work searching through these files. When he can't find anything, he goes to the front desks, asks for information on the timekeepers themselves. She's like, classified, front of beginning of time, also classified, end of time, also classified. He can't have access to any files except for his own. And when he looks through them, he finds Ragnarok, the destruction of Asgard, resulting in over 9,000 deaths.
Yeah, that had to have hit a little
Oh, and
hard.
he started tearing up and stuff, and it was like, and I think it was weird because in this moment and in another moment when Mobius is like, I'm sorry about that, like, I'm so sorry about Ragnarok, and he goes, yeah, very sad, and then he just moves on. I think it's a very good example about how this variance status for Loki and him seeing what he's seen is making him realize, like that was just gonna happen, like I'm kind of becoming a little desensitized to it at this point. But go ahead, Miles.
Oh, see, I took it as more of like him trying to just like push off and like not feel emotion.
Well, that's also a distinct possibility.
As someone who is amazing at taking all emotions and pushing them, as far down as possible. Because
or him realizing that realizing. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say him tearing up at seeing the 9,000 deaths, and then whenever Mobius says, like I'm sorry, like that sucks, like like that's terrible, and he's just like, oh yeah, very sad, very sad. Like he's trying to deflect and ignore the reality of what's happened.
Or
you're
this
absolutely
is
right.
the moment where he accepts it, where he's like, even Ragnarok, one of the worst moments of my life.
I don't think they're going to cancel out all the characters.
No, hang on, time out. Is that just Ragnarok, or is that because if it's just that, is it just that event of Ragnarok only, or is it Loki, like that whole Loki's life? Because that would include New York as well, right?
Yeah.
What?
Well, I think it was just the destruction of Asgard.
Yeah, the 9,000 deaths was just in Ragnarok, because that was
that's
class.
That's what I was asking, but you guys just let me keep going.
Oh, okay, I was.
No,
but what I'm saying is that maybe
sorry.
this is where Loki realizes even the destruction of Asgard is just going to happen. So I am in a position where I can change things, where things aren't just meant to just happen. And this is where the fire was lit. I'm going to do something about it.
It's a distinct possibility because he sees the 9,000 deaths and his eyes are already kind of welling up, but then he sees 0 variance energy detected. And that's when he really that's when it really comes to the brim, and then he shoves it
this
down
could benefit me.
Yeah.
Speaking of, what class was the Apocalypse? Because there's all the different classes
10.
for it. No, that was the Hurricane.
Oh, what class was Asgard?
Yeah. Wasn't it a 7?
I don't know. I didn't see.
I think they said
I was about to pause it on that thing, but then I'm like, no, I just got to watch this. It's so
I think
good.
they said it was a class 7 Apocalypse. And if a fucking giant fire demon, stabbing a sword into the heart of not really a planet, but a floating space island and destroying it is only a class 7 apocalypse, how fucking bad is this hurricane? It's a class 10 apocalypse.
This included Hela. There's no way that wasn't just...
No, this was just Ragnarok. It wasn't... Hela's stuff was separate.
I think Hela's stuff was part of Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was just taking the Ragnarok as the actual, the fight against Hela right before that, but I wasn't taking it as, Hela's, invasion.
Well, the thing doesn't get activated without Hela. So,
because I don't think...
prophesized.
Yeah, because I think it was just the destruction of... I think there were very few casualties in the actual, stabbing through the heart of it.
That's fair. You're right, because they evacuated most of it.
Category 1 event. I'm looking at the thing right now.
I feel like I remember them saying Category 7.
Well, maybe Category 1's the highest and Category 10's the lowest, and that's why the hurricane's so low.
Alabama is Alabama. It's not a planet.
Yeah.
That's a planet that is gone. That's
space
one.
island.
Okay.
But upon seeing that, there's 0 variance energy detected, he runs to Mobius to explain what he's found. He explains in a very poorly demonstrated attempt on an apocalypse of the salad persuasion. And, Mobius just begs. He's like, please don't do that. That's my salad. I want to eat that. Don't do that. And Loki doesn't give a fuck. In fact, he continues and almost steals his drink. But luckily, Mobius has already drank all of that drink. So he steals Casey's instead. And he dumps it all out on the salad, explaining this is the apocalypse. And he says, the Variant is hiding in apocalypses. It doesn't matter what they do. They can do whatever they want as long as everyone in the vicinity dies very soon after. And Miles, thank you for updating us. Class 7 is what you're saying.
Another
Class
cool
7
update. Ragnarok had a code name of Revengers on this file. The destruction of Asgard, and in a comment section, code name Revengers in all caps.
Well, remember that's what they called themselves. Thor, Heimdall.
Oh,
Valkyrie.
Really?
Yeah, they did call themselves.
Oh, that's awesome. That's just
they did. That's right. They said, "What will our team name be?" And he said, "The Revengers."
No team, awesome. Only Hulk.
Or calling back to that.
Team,
Or they're not
only
calling
Earth.
back to it. They're saying that was always supposed to be said.
Mm-hmm.
God
Yep.
damn it. It's not even a callback.
But Mobius and Loki, they have to test this theory. Mobius is a little hesitant, but, Loki convinces him because that's what he does. And I think this is a good sign of Mobius not being quite like the other TVA agents, being a little bit like longing for more. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he makes that abundantly clear, I think, throughout this episode.
The jet ski is definitely a foreshadow of Loki will take him to Earth and have him on a jet ski to experience human stuff. Like,
yeah,
Mobius is going to experience some human stuff.
But here, Mobius agrees to go to Pompeii in 79 AD. And he's real nervous. He wants to implement very small changes. He asks Loki if he knows any bird sounds, and Loki's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Let's just go for it. He goes over to these goats in a wagon. He sets them free. He goes, be free, my friends, be free, be free. And he explains to all the people, they're about to die. Just live without care. Go and fucking drink and eat and do your thing. I mean, not in so many words, but it's essentially what he meant.
Do you know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
It reminds me of like Magic Treehouse, like the books. Like we're going back to all these moments in history and shit. It's like I'm taken back to Magic Treehouse.
Gotcha. That's what you were going. I thought you were saying like specifically Loki saying like letting the like just causing a ruckus. I was like, what does that remind you in Magic Treehouse of?
No, the way we're like going back to like
yeah.
And then I did love his attitude. I just love how cocky he is again. I don't like grungy Loki. Like I know it's gonna happen, and
I love the fact,
but like, no, I've already seen this man suffer too much. Like I want to see
him. I want him fun, loving, and just kind of going for it. But I loved that they even addressed, me and Joseph talked about in the Patreon exclusive briefly, like the how much time is enough time before you can joke about a tragedy, and it's like. And we only really talked about it in this regard. 79 AD is safe. Everybody here died. There are no descendants. We're chill here. So it's like, I love that they have that conversation on screen though. Like Loki's like, they're all going to die anyway. And Mobius is like, yeah, but that's a little in bad taste, don't you think? To just kind of be like,
sure.
Go ahead.
Thing right now, and it says it's a class 10 apocalypse and that 10,000 people died, and it says like planetary body intact. So I feel like they definitely have to do like like a class 1 apocalypse is like premium apocalypse, and like class 10 is like
world ender.
Well,
wait,
like class 7
is like premium, as in like that's the most wanted. That's like the apocalypse.
No, as in like no, as in like class 1 is in like this is like
devastating.
Oh,
universe
this is like,
ending.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if class 7 is planetary destruction and class 10 is entire town annihilated, planetary body intact, what is class 1?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying like, a planet is 7?
Yeah. I imagine like a galaxy is probably what, like a 4 then?
I think we're looking at someone like Galactus being like a level 1, like a class 1 type of threat.
We're talking like we're talking about like entire like like universal like destruction.
Is this a 1?
I mean, yeah, shit. Maybe what Loki, Lady Loki does later on in the episode would count as a class 1.
Well, here's the
apocalypse.
Thing. It seemed like nobody there had ever experienced anything like this. Like this was brand fucking new.
Yeah, well, but I'm saying like if that was rated on the 1 to 10 scale, would probably be inching up to that class 1 level.
Oh, certainly. But
I'd say this is above a 7.
Oh, certainly. Just
a little bit worse.
But I'm gonna return to this Pompeii scene right on cue.
Trying to keep us on track.
Mount Vesuvius explodes, and we got a volcanic ash raining down, and it's about to bear down on Loki as he explains, I knew nothing would happen here, and that if I were me, I would hide here. Like this is, I would hide in an apocalypse. This is what I'd do. And Mobius is just amazed at the fact that there's zero variance energy. Like everything he just did was perfectly fine because everyone died within seconds. So, they rush back into the office. They're fucking fired up. They're like, hell yeah, let's fucking do this, baby. Let's head straight to these files. Let's do it. And then they're like,
God damn, that's gotta be morbid as shit. Like knowing your job for the next week is gonna be traveling to various like fucking
tragedy.
catastrophic events.
Yeah, that would be pretty heavy. You got to think, but
Sure.
they hit kind of a dead end at the files, and there are tons of tragedies that overtake the world at several different points. They don't have any way to limit it. They're just kind of like, what are we doing here? And Mobius and Loki go for a walk together to a break room of sorts where Loki asks Mobius about his jet ski magazine, and Mobius explains it helps him remember what they're fighting for. There was a point in the early 90s where form and function really met to create this wonderful thing called the jet ski.
What a weird
and
worship of the jet ski.
Here's the thing, though. Is he wrong?
It's a weird thing to be right about, but he's right. But why? But
my question though is did they plan on we're just gonna have Mobius be obsessed with jet skis, or did they approach Owen Wilson and they're like, "What is your favorite obscure thing on this planet right now?"
Jet skis,
and he goes,
man.
"Jet skis."
Every time I see a jet ski, I'm just like, wow.
Wow.
I see a jet ski go by, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
I fucking wish I was on that jet ski.
And part of me, I just believe that that's what happened. They were just like, "What's your favorite obscure thing on the planet?" And he said jet skis, and they're like, "All right, Mobius fucking loves jet skis now, and we're gonna build this into the character as a plot line."
Here's another
Or they
thing.
asked him.
Here's another thing. I have a small theory that I don't know if I really. I don't have any form to it, and
All right, so it's fact. Gotcha.
It's a very small thing that I like. This very part inspired a whole thing where I thought, okay, what if TVA agents themselves were not created by the Timekeepers, but instead were plucked out of different times throughout history? And this guy happened to be this age in the early 90s, or grew up in the early 90s and loved him a fucking jet ski. You know what I'm saying? So what if I'm not saying everyone there is like that, but I'm saying what if at least
aren't they
Mobius
infinitely living though? They don't age or anything, do they?
But is that because they're a part of the TVA? Is that because they're there?
Yeah, it might just be like a TVA is time just doesn't pass at the TVA type thing. To people's bodies. I could get behind that theory. I like that theory.
Well, here's the thing is that they've kind of breezed over that idea a couple times. The Timekeepers created every agent in the TVA, and it's like obviously there's so much other shit that doesn't really stand out, but it's that's fucking weird. They just created an infinite amount of people to do a bunch of work for them. I don't buy that.
Okay,
and
if this is
that's
true,
why they need all that propaganda to sway them to believe this is what they've always known.
If this is true, then this is not a Loki big bad. This is an MCU big bad.
Yeah.
This is everyone is trying to get the TVA back to their lives, or we're trying to get the universe restored to its original whatever it may be. Maybe that is phase 4 or 5. Is getting the universe back. I don't know.
But kind of also a thing that you saying that made me think about, Colton, is if they did create them all, why the fuck would 3 lizard people create a bunch of fucking humans? So,
and why are they human?
And why is there no other species? No other species works for the TVA, as far as we know so far.
Yeah, and they span an
what if
entire
humans are just
universe.
the least advanced? Humans are just the least advanced intelligent species. We are just the least.
Well, then why would they be the ones chosen to work?
Well, just
because they're the most easily acceptable,
expendable,
or maybe it's easiest to pluck out of timelines, type thing,
and manipulate.
Or maybe it could also just be because clearly there are humans elsewhere in the galaxy or in the universe that aren't from Earth necessarily. Maybe it's
more advanced though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is maybe maybe humanity is just so widespread that there's just so many more of them on all these different worlds and all that stuff. It's easy to just you pluck one out, no one's gonna miss them.
True. It's. I am interested to see if that comes to any sort of fruition. I gotta guess Mobius's story will be in some way singular. I don't think he is just a
His name is come on.
Mobius.
It's the most obvious freaking time joke. What are they doing there? Are they doing something there? Is it just to get us to talk about it?
I don't know. And I have no idea. I'm looking forward. I don't think Mobius is just tied to Loki. I think he's going to have his own arc. You know what I'm saying? He's not just going to be to push Loki forward, because there's another main character in the series right now. It's him, you know, like that's just the case.
I sincerely hope Mobius is now an MCU main character, and
what if he turns into a Mobius strip?
What if he is time itself?
He is a Mobius strip.
I just want Owen Wilson in the MCU full time.
It'd be wonderful.
He's the one above all.
If we don't get one scene of Owen Wilson going, wow.
I need Owen Wilson talking to Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Samuel L. Jackson all in one scene. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna lie. Who the fuck is Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
She was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. She was the big cameo. She's Miss Madam Hydra. She's
okay.
Val.
Sorry, okay, gotcha.
She played Elaine. She played Elaine.
She was in Seinfeld.
Bro.
I just didn't know her name off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But once you said that, I now know exactly who you're talking about.
Queen of comedy. But, Mobius ultimately explains that the TVA is real because, he believes it's real. And Loki's like, see, every fucking time I think you're intelligent, and then I go, wow, you're a real fucking dumbass. How do you believe that? And then Owen Wilson's like, where are you from, Loki? Asgard? Your dad's Odin? The All-Father? The fuck are you talking about, man? Like, none of that's real either. It's like
you're a fucking baby frost giant that lived on Asgard. The fuck are you talking about?
Exactly. It's like, how can you possibly judge what I know? Because what you know is ridiculous too. It's just like he breaks it down. He's like, when you break it down, when we think about where any of us came from, it ultimately sounds fucking ridiculous. It always does. It's always like, how the fuck did that happen? And that's just the way it's going to be. You know? That's just the way it's going to be. But, Mobius, he says he believes he was created here. He believes they protect a sacred timeline. And, he believes it's real. And Loki is amazed by this fact, and he questions, okay, so everything is written. That would mean that me and you are the only people here with free will, would it not? And Mobius says, that's an oversimplification, but, Loki continues. He goes, how does it all end? And Mobius explains it's a work in progress, that while they protect what came before them, the timekeepers are toiling away in their chamber, creating an ending to all of time, untangling the epilogue from its infinite branches. And it's like, here's where like TVA starts becoming a little bit religion-y, it operates a little bit on faith. Like like they have to tell people like, have faith. The timekeepers are going to guide us there. Like that is what's going to happen. And like, they even have their salvation. When they do figure out the ending, that's when the TVA doesn't need to exist. That's when
it's so weird though. Like how could there be an ending?
It would the only way there's an ending is if nothing exists anymore. Not that the timeline becomes perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
so like, why would they long for that? Why are they like, that's the perfect time?
Because then they don't spend eternity trying to fix the timeline. They're done working.
Oh, I look forward to the time where I am literally nothing anymore. That's what I look forward to. Not when I'm me right now, living currently in my body. Yeah, that's what I look forward to.
This is morbid, guys.
That's what Loki brings out in you, man. But
Joseph, you don't wake up every morning looking forward to the forever sleep?
Honestly, every time I wake up, I'm pissed off because I didn't stay asleep.
You're gonna hit the Odin sleep button.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Would be nice just to hit a nice 80-year Odin sleep. Just boop, pop out, see what's
honestly,
on the other side.
It doesn't even have to be 80 years. I'm going with the Bo Burnham inside. I just want to just turn me off for the next year and a half. I'm good.
I'll take a big
I'll
nap.
take it.
You'll probably wake up and be like, nope, going right back. Nope, not today. Nope.
I'm probably going to cut out the 11th minute of this one too. But Loki then says,
oh, come on.
I'll pick it apart a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But Loki says, so only order, no chaos. That sounds kind of fucking boring to me. And he says Mobius is wrong for calling him a scared little boy, that he knows a whole lot more than children. He says that no one bad is ever truly bad. and no one good is ever truly good. But Mobius is hardly listening because the weirdly enough, the little boy comment got him thinking. And this sparks a light bulb for him. And it's regarding the candy we saw earlier in the premiere, Kablooey. He explains that it only existed between the years 2047 and 2051. And I'm kind of like, you didn't think of that like a little earlier? Like,
yeah, it's kind of.
How do you not? Yeah, how do you not vet your research? You have every single record data.
I mean, I guess he could they could have gone to 2047 through 2051 and picked up a candy bar and then taken it in the past. But it's like,
but that's all they had. They didn't have this apocalypse thing at all.
True. That is all
so. Like they would just be like, okay, so he was in this time period. That doesn't mean he stays there.
True.
You know, or yeah.
But, you know, he says they have to look through the apocalyptic natural disasters between 2047 and 2051. And I like that Mobius treats him like a child and kind of motivates him by like being like, so let's make it a bet. You find it, I find it. It's a gentleman's bet. May the best men win. And like this is like Loki's like, fuck yeah, baby, let's get it. And but they begin scrolling through all these disasters, finding a climate crisis, a tsunami, the extinction of the swallow, Krakatoa erupting in 2049, which I'm pretty sure, like, is Krakatoa a real thing? That's a real thing?
Yeah, it's in Indonesia, something like that. It's an island in the that like island that chain of islands in the like near Australia,
Is it, like,
north of
supposed to-
Australia.
Oh
Is it
my
supposed to
goodness!
blow
It's
up
the one
soon?
that
I feel like a dumbass.
It's the one that
I was
blew
thinking
up.
of Krakoa. That's an X-Men thing.
Oh,
Yeah, Krakatoa. It's like it's a volcano that blew up in like the 1800s, and like the shock waves like went around the world.
God,
Oh,
It was
whoa.
such a big explosion. It's like the biggest explosion to happen on Earth since like the dinosaur
The
meteor
creation of the
asteroid.
moon.
you learn something every day. I was just thinking of
Damn.
Krakoa, the X-Men
That would
island
be
for
so
mutants.
cool to see. That would be so cool
I
to
really-
watch happen.
I don't think it would be.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
yeah.
You wouldn't watch it for long.
dude, if you were just in the TVA, you could just go watch that. And
Oh,
then
okay.
No.
Well, okay. In that situation,
Yeah.
yes.
I really
You're
did with
standing
the
on
scene, though.
Earth, maybe not.
I like that that there were just so many fucking disasters that they listed off. It was pretty funny.
And they were all because of climate change.
Yeah, it was
Well,
definitely a not.
Krakatoa's not.
That's true. Yeah, that's just a
That's-
random event.
That's just volcanoes.
That's just random, man.
Sad-
Volcanoes just go
sadly-
whenever they want to go.
Sadly, humans can't control volcanoes yet.
True. But, you know, he says we got cyclones, famine, volcanoes, floods, and then Loki's like, I've got it. He's like, Alabama, 2050, hurricane. This is where he's at.
Why did this?
I think it was
Why?
supposed to be like a trusted. This is where they're going to be.
But how? What?
Maybe
This part, it took me out of the episode for a little bit. I'm like, wait, they didn't explain why this called
Yeah,
out
they
to
did.
him. They did?
Yeah. Loki says this is where I would be. He says food,
Yeah, but
water, and
I mean,
like
come
cover.
on.
No, of all the apocalypses, like you're not gonna want to be in a fucking famine. You're not gonna want to be at Krakatoa. You're not gonna want to be at a
would want to
tsunami.
be at a superstore.
You'd want to be in a fucking superstore where you have all the supplies you need, and you can just keep coming back and using those supplies anytime you
Okay,
need.
I guess, but they immediately left, acting as if like
This was
for
foolproof.
sure, like
Well,
100%. Didn't even look at any other ones. Like it was just like we got to go now. Like I don't know. It was kind of like
they clearly did need to go then.
They did, and they were right. But
Had they showed up a little bit earlier, had that one lady not bitched about letting them go, the timeline might still be intact.
But, you know, Ravana brings up the same concerns that Joe just did. You know, like, we're just going to do this on a hunch. And Mobius is like, fuck yeah, baby. I'm more excited than I've been in years. Let's fucking do this. And it's and she's like, come on, like, chill out, man. Chill out. It's going to, you know, if I can't really cover your ass here. You do this. Like, it's on you. I can't co-sign. Do you, though, you know? And, ultimately probably shouldn't have let him do him. The judge questions, you know, his trusting of our variant Loki, and Mobius is excited about the work he's doing. He says he can handle him, to trust him. He says he's got this instinct that is telling him this is where they will find the variant. And, he goes out. She tells him, be careful. And they get ready for a mission in which it's basically going to happen in a Costco. They say that that Loki is planning something. They just don't know what. And if they see a Loki, prune it.
Not
this Loki, though. Preferably
that was funny. That was funny.
Yeah.
You knew the line was coming.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You knew,
it was one of those moments you were talking about in the Patreon,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also one of those moments where, like, she 100% meant, like, no, if you see a Loki, prune it, even if it's this one.
Yeah.
Because she fucking hates him.
Yeah, and, like, all of them are ready to do that besides Mobius. Like, Mobius is literally the only one riding for this man.
Thank God. I mean, somebody's got to do it. He's just misunderstood.
And thank God it's Owen Wilson.
Thank God it's Owen Wilson. Thank God. But, we go to Haven Hills where we see a hurricane occurring, and we see the Minutemen run into the Rock Smart, and Loki agrees to go with Hunter B-15, and Mobius splits off the other way, and Loki and B-15 run into a man who is, like, casually shopping for azaleas half off during this hurricane. And they're like, the fact that they even questioned it for a second is fucking crazy to me. Like, that they were like, oh, well, maybe someone is just shopping for flowers during this hurricane.
Hurricane sale. That's what he said. Hurricane sale. Probably massive price drops. Gotta think.
You're braving the weather of a hurricane this big to go get azaleas.
Yeah, exactly.
You think the whole superstore is gonna be gone?
I mean, it is.
I know, but do you think that the people in there think that?
But at the same time, if you do think it is going to be gone, why not go out and look at some fucking flowers? Sure. Like, if you're going to be gone, might as well enjoy yourself while you're going out.
That's fair. But, B-15, she's like, could this be you? And Loki's like, yeah, probably. And, B-15 approaches, and the man grabs her wrists and imbues, the
Did you expect it to actually be Loki?
I was so fucking confused whenever it first happened, because I was not expecting that. Like, her.
I thought it was actually just a random dude.
I thought it was just a random dude, and then I thought it was, like, Tom Hiddleston Loki was doing some fuck shit. And then, like, Lady Loki started talking to him through
B-15, yeah.
Through B-15, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I finally caught on, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This is not what I was expecting.
This is a cool power. I like this, like, Loki
power.
I
was going to say, I'm confused. I've never seen Loki do this with his own hand / like, with this green light. Like, I've seen him do it in Avengers 1 with the scepter. That was how he controlled Hawkeye and shit back then. But, like, is this just a power that this other...
He basically, in a moment, says this power is beneath him. Mm-hmm. He basically says enchantment, that's pretty amateur.
But he did this shit with the scepter.
With the scepter, he wasn't.
That was with the
slightly
stone.
different. He was mind controlling them. Yeah. With this, what he's doing is he is in essence like becoming them. Yeah, okay. That's why they like the one that she was previously controlling would get knocked out, and then she was talking through them for a bit. Whereas with the mind scepter, he was just being like, "Hey, go get me the fucking go get me the fucking Tesseract, shoo," and then they would go do shit.
So what he was? So what when he does that shit for comedic relief, like when he becomes Captain America? For the butt
no, that's
joke?
like he talked about it. That's just like illusions.
What the fuck?
All right. He's got like so many abilities. Like they say, like the illusion
with the Captain America, it's illusions. With this, he's actually like he's just controlling their body, like implanting his mind.
Loki is basically the Reality Stone.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, I don't know. Literally, all of Odin's children are one of the stones. It's just how, or multiples of them. It's like Odin had all the stones, and he imbued all the powers of the stones into his kids. Like, it's just how it is.
But Loki, I
don't know.
Loki meets the other Loki through B-15. He's like, "Me, I presume," and she's like, "If anything, you are me." And they exchange a smile, which I loved. I thought that was a funny ass moment. And back with the civilians of Rocksmart, they think the Minutemen are PETA. Or not PETA. FEMA.
FEMA. Yeah.
And to no surprise, the Minutemen are complete and utter assholes with just a complete power trip going on, being like,
dude, what the heck? Yeah, what is that? You know they're gonna die, so you're mean to them?
they are cops. But
wow, what a way of thinking, though.
for real, Mobius says that, like maybe they're scared, but they shouldn't be scared of us. Like, that's not our fucking job. Go ahead and be nice to these people. And they they then find C20 tied up and muttering to herself, super scared. And back, that was rough.
Yeah,
Dude,
that part was bad. That part was bad to watch.
I think it's her reeling from the enchantment,
Yeah,
but why did it not happen to anyone else?
Yeah, but
because they passed out.
The only person I've ever seen react this way to anything similar was like Wanda,
shown or seen.
But this was like bad.
She saw something. What like?
Well, no, I think she just
something.
knows what she's done. She knows what she is.
She probably knows what she's done. And she was probably tortured to get that information out,
right.
Or it was him going into her mind and doing some fuck shit. So she's probably like going a little insane.
No, I forgot about the detail of that. She told female Loki where to find the timekeepers.
Yeah.
I forgot about that
how to
detail.
get to
That's
the
a pretty
TVA.
big detail. But like, what is that? So like,
I think
does
it's literally
that person know too?
That's what was interesting to me was the fact that like, do any of the Minutemen just know?
I don't
where?
think
That's
any
why
of them know. I think it's like
it's like a hive mind thing. That's why I think like
No.
they're all this one massive.
I can't.
Like,
After
it's
all
not
we've seen,
any
you're
of
still behind the
hive-ish
hive mind
mind.
thing.
Hive-ish mind.
It's
I don't
not
know.
any of them because otherwise she would have, Lady Loki would have just taken one of the random Minutemen that she's previously killed off. I think it's specifically which one is what's the one that was free, the one that told him what was her name
20
or her
Something
call
20,
tag or whatever.
20?
Was it like B20 or whatever?
C20.
C20. I think they're like based on their rank, they probably know more, and so she was probably like a higher ranking person, and so knew kind of like I keep forgetting the one that Lady Loki's currently controlling. Colton.
The one she's currently controlling, B-15.
Yeah, B-15. Okay, that's what I thought. I like B-15 probably knows even more type thing, and probably like the higher ranking people know a lot more about the technology and stuff, and are like granted more access and stuff. And so C-20 probably knows how to get back to the TVA for whatever reason, and can tell then Lady Loki, and that's why she captured her.
It is also like I think another thing that lends to their rank and stuff is that they. I get the impression that the Minutemen are incredibly de-individualized. Like they don't even have names. They have call tags, they have numbers, like the clones did in Star Wars. So it's like they're meant to operate as a collective, and they know that. Like they're not supposed to have individuality, kind of.
Wow.
But we're back with.
It's gonna suck if they're all like if they were all taken from their homes. Like it's gonna suck. Like god damn it! Like why are we getting like an Empire level like, but even bigger?
Even bigger. Like it'd be ridiculous.
Oh.
But back with Loki and the other Loki, they keep exchanging some shit talking. It's real fun. She says she was worried that they found the better version of them. Then she imbues her consciousness into a guy who was working way too hard during a hurricane. Hello everybody. Would you like some shelter? Like, dude, go to the shelter. You're getting paid minimum wage. You don't need this.
That's true, man. I don't know. I don't know what I'd be doing in that situation.
He walks off like a smart ass, now being imbued with Loki's consciousness, and our Loki follows him and says, "What's the matter? Are you too scared to meet me face to face?" He says, gaining their confidence is no small feat. And, the other Loki turns is like, "Oh my God, you went undercover." And our Loki, he says, "If you could possibly sheathe your smarm for a moment, I have an offer for you. And that's why I found you." The other Loki tells them to go on. And he explains that he's going to overthrow the timekeepers. He says, cards on the table, he could use a qualified lieutenant themselves. And it's like, I know if that's like how this were to play out, he'd be okay with that. but I know he's also formulating a way to take this person out if necessary. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah.
Well, it's Loki. That door always has to stay at least cracked. Like any plan he's assembling, there always has to be like that. Oh hey, contingency. I'm gonna kill you just in case. Like 88%.
Oh yeah, he's always got. It's like that line earlier in the episode where he's like, "I would never stab you in the back," and Mobius is like, "I've literally watched you stab people in the back," and he's like, "I'd never do it again." You know, like
it's boring. It's tired now.
But our Loki refers to them as Loki, and they were like, "Ugh, don't fucking call me that. Call me Randy." She looks down at the name tag, and Loki's like, "Fuck, now I see why Thor thought this was so goddamn annoying." He says, "Enough with your games. I've been trying to help you." And, the other Loki's like, "Well, fuck what you've been doing for me."
Oh God,
Bless you.
Sorry.
Bless you, Kyler.
I tried to hit mute, but I couldn't find it. It's so fucking hard to find the buttons on this one.
It's really okay. That was funny as hell. But the yellow Loki says, no, they're not interested in ruling the TVA. And our hooded figure is arming reset charges all the meanwhile. And back with Mobius and C20, we see her muttering, "It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real." And it's like, I still don't quite get what the "it's real" thing was about. Like, that's concerning to me.
What if it really is like, okay, what if the TVA, like, they all have this like agreement that they all think the timekeepers are real, but they really don't. Like, it's like, we just all work, like, we just all have this job. Like, we don't actually think that they're real, but we'll believe in it just to believe in it. Maybe that's what Owen Wilson's line's about. And then, like, but she actually saw them and is like, wait, they're actually real? Like these guys are actually real? I don't know. Because what else would be real?
Yeah, like, what else would they be questioning?
Like, usually that when someone says it's real or it's all real, it's usually like heaven, hell experience, like some holy or some divine experience, Yeah. It's not, I don't know. Maybe she was referring to, this massive war or whatever's about to happen. Maybe that's what she's referring to. I don't know why she would say it's real though. But,
yeah, I was a little confused, but I guess we'll see. That's gonna be one we're gonna come back to. I have to assume.
Oh yeah.
But Mobius is like, "What the fuck is she talking about?" And she says she wants to go home, and they're like, "All right, call the base, like get the med bay ready." And she's like, "I gave it away, where the timekeepers are." And it's like, "Oh wow, how do you know that?" But we then see B-15 rising after having passed out from the enchantment. She's confused, and then she shudders, which lets me know, like, she experienced what C-20 experienced on a much smaller level. Like, the way she, like, like, it was like she had to expel something. Like, it was like, oh, God, that was terrible. You know what I'm saying? But,
I don't know. I don't think it was the same experience, though.
I don't either. That's why I meant, like,
something else had to happen.
Degree. Yeah.
Something else had to happen to that other girl. Like, something had to have happened.
I mean, she just had to, she tortured her for information, I've got to guess.
Yeah, but like maybe the torture was letting her see what was going to happen or something like that. Like, I don't know. But
I have no idea.
Whoa.
But Loki says that he found their hiding spot with ease. The hiding spot of this other Loki. It's like, so I must be superior. And then, after a little bit more discussion, he realizes, oh, so you really just lured me into a trap. And he doesn't really acknowledge that he was lured into a trap. He was like, oh, so this was the plan all along, to lure us into a trap. And it's like, he completely ignores the fact that he thought he was completely correct a second ago in the superior Loki, and just kind of moves past it with a little bit of ease. And he looks to see the reset charges aren't, like, kind of being set up, and he's like, all right, so you were just going to kill us all. You were going to lure us here and blow us up. And he turns up to look back at this guy, and no variant in sight. He's then kicked by a very large Alabaman man. Very, very clear an Alabaman man. And this guy really just beats his ass. He says,
I liked it better when you were Randall. No.
He says, thank you for helping me stall time. You really do love to hear yourself talk. You're the first person to tell me that. You know, like, I love that Loki never lost his quips here. Like, he's still on. He's really in it. But Loki says, you know, I would never treat me like this. Like, what the fuck's going on here? I would never do this to me. And he tries to reason with himself, and he then calls an object to him by using the Force, basically. Have we seen Loki do this before?
No. Just kind of insane. Dude just used the Force. Yeah. Telekinesis.
Looked at an object and was like, I want that.
Has he ever done that with his knife or anything, like with his little daggers? I feel like he has at some point.
Has he ever made anything just float?
I feel like he's made something float before.
Well, here's the thing: is that like if he can do this with like objects, the fuck's Thor got going with Mjolnir? I mean, obviously Loki can't do that to Mjolnir; he's not worthy. But it's like if he can do it with practically anything else, as long as he can hold it.
I feel like there's probably a weight limit, though.
Well, yeah, but it's like.
He pulled that weight.
If he can call,
that was a very obvious call. It was a weight that he pulled, and he pulled it as if it was nothing. Like it was as if it was nothing. Like that was the whole point. It was like a plate, wasn't it? Like a gym, like it was like a literal weight, wasn't it?
I think it was. I get what you're saying. I feel like he's made small stuff float. I can't remember though.
Yeah, it's impressive. I guess I just don't know the breadth of Loki's abilities.
I remember seeing it and then being like, kind of like, wait a minute, like
he can just do that?
Yeah, he can do that. Like,
and if we've seen that before, I would love for someone to correct us on that, like tweet at us or something, because I just do like. I cannot think of a time he's done that, but it was pretty impressive. And the fight continues, and Loki continues to get his ass beaten. He says that if they had any honor, they would come out and fight them himself. And the guy says, you know, I have shit to do, and then tosses him across the room where a robotic puppy crawls all over him and barks in his face. And Mobius and B-15 run into each other, and the other Minuteman, who's been a complete fucking asshole this whole time, comes to the conclusion that their favorite Loki has betrayed them. And Loki rises, hair affray and eyes watering. He watches the man arm another reset charge. He yells to him, what do you want from me? What is this about? And the man turns to Loki. He tells him, brace yourself. And then he hears an echo of this. What do you want from me? What is this about? And then our hooded figure emerges, removes the hood, and all of those voices come into one as she says, this isn't about you. It's like, damn, I liked that moment. That was dope as fuck. And we get none other than Lady Loki. I hope she gets dubbed with another name, because I really don't think when she reacted to the Loki ew thing, like it genuinely seemed like she wasn't just fucking around. Like she obviously was going to fuck around about the Randy thing, but like she really doesn't like going by Loki. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm hoping or maybe she just is Lady Loki. I don't know. We'll see. But
I hope she gets some like shitty like. Obviously, I'm joking whenever I say this. I really hope she doesn't, but some like shitty, just like feminine version of Loki.
Loka.
Okay.
Yeah. Where it's just like all the like female versions of like characters get, where it's just like, it's just the same name. You just slightly changed it to be different.
One of Loki's powers on Wiki is telekinesis. So it's just listed as one of his abilities that he has is telekinesis.
Oh, okay.
Move
cool.
and influence objects through will alone. So,
what wiki is this? Is this like the Marvel wiki,
or
like Wikipedia talking about like the mythological wiki?
The fandom wiki.
Gotcha.
But we then watch all of these reset charges engage, and they drop through their little respective time doors, and it begins wreaking havoc on the sacred timeline. The TVA watches as several branches start going. They all start firing like it's fucking Wall Street. They're making calls. Someone goes, they've bombed the sacred timeline, and they all just watch on in horror. And when Lady Loki opens up a time door, Loki waits for a moment. He looks back to Mobius and B-15 chasing after him, yelling, Loki, wait, wait. He makes the decision in this moment. He's going to follow. He's going to follow and see what happens this way. And Mobius yells, damn it! We cut to black. So,
I have a fundamental question.
What's up?
If these reset charges only destroy the variant part of the timeline, how is it even starting this chain reaction?
She probably fucked with them.
I'm guessing she fucked with them to be able to not just take out variant energy. Like she is
Were they a
fucking
different
straight up.
color by chance? Like, was there a visual cue to that?
It looked orange. They glowed orange the same way the other ones do, but they didn't turn to purple for us to see. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe they do the opposite. Maybe they create variant energy.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe
That's
she
a
like
fun idea.
maybe she like reversed the polarity on him, and instead of destroying, it creates variant energy. So
That makes sense.
That's why it's causing all the fucked up timelines.
That would make a lot of sense. That's a lot of fun right there too.
Be sleepy, boy.
This was the best ending for me of any Marvel project in terms of TV so far. Any episode of WandaVision, any episode of The Falcon and Winter Soldier, this ending left me going, oh, fuck yeah. More than any other. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is up there with, I think, WandaVision's finale in, like, MCU, like, ramifications. But this is an episode fucking 2. Yeah. Which is why I would agree with you. This is, like, I was talking, because my coworker I've started talking to about this stuff, you know, about Marvel and all that stuff with, and he hadn't seen this episode yet, and I was talking to him about it today, and I was like, not going to spoil anything, but it's fucking fantastic. And the last 10 minutes of it just happen in this, it feels like it's like a minute, and it all happens.
Yeah.
And it's so fast paced, and it's fucking amazing.
How many episodes are we getting?
6.
Oh my god.
4 left.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Like this feels like episode 4 already. Like episode 4 or 5. I mean, fuck, had this been the finale, it would have been like damn, this is a cliffhanger for the finale.
Does anyone else show up in the show? Like, do you think? Like
another character we've already been made familiar with?
Like Wanda or
I don't think
Cap
so.
or Bucky or
I doubt it. Well, did you guys see the stuff saying that potentially, what's her name?
Peggy worked for the TVA?
No, not worked for the TVA, but she was there was a variant Peggy in the TVA, I think.
That was like walking in the background in the
one of the people in the background looked like Peggy.
Yeah. It's not enough for me to go, because like, here's the thing. They can plant seeds in the background, like in passing, but like they can't be a person walking on this much of the screen.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I don't think it's anything important, but I would just
well, no, I'm with you. I love going down that line of thought, but every time I think about it, I'm like, I love the idea, but fuck, they're not just going to throw Peggy Carter in the background.
Come on, Kevin Feige would definitely do that. He'd be like,
but he would have it be in there, they walk past Loki, and you can see.
No, not even
her.
that, because he'd be like, I put her in I put her in Loki. Second episode even. You guys didn't see her, and then he's like,
you guys just fucking stupid or what?
You guys stupid. She was right there, and then we're like, it's a small part of the screen. He's like, oh, well, you guys don't like my movies, then you don't like every detail. That's come on, man. Fuck that guy. He's too smart for us. Too smart.
But yes, this second episode of Loki was phenomenal. I don't have any other thoughts. Kyler, got any thoughts? No? Okay. Now Kyler's a sleepy boy. He's asleep now. He fell asleep before the
throwback to a Patreon exclusive conversation. Do we, once we're done with the podcast, do we start blaring some George Lopez?
100%. 100%.
Just like full volume to see if he wakes up to it and is just confused as fuck.
Yeah.
We will do that. But this was Loki's Losers. This was the 108th episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. I was Colton Robertson, and this was the podcast burdened with glorious purpose. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for letting me out. Glad to be here. Can't wait for next time.
Fuck yeah, baby. Well, I mean, Bad Batch tomorrow. I mean, we won't record on it, but the Bad Batch is coming out tomorrow. We got another episode.
Whoa.
Tonight, even.
Tonight, even, if you want to stay up for it. But
I'm not going to.
I'm not going to either, but
Not going to.
it's an idea. We were also joined by Miles motherfucking Buttress. Thank you very much, homie.
I mean, happy to be here. I'll, come back anytime, man.
Would you come back next week even?
Maybe.
Yeah, man. Would you come back next week even? Wow. Would you come back next week?
Wow.
Come back next week for me. Wow.
All right.
We were also joined by KBZ, Kyler Barnett. He's asleep. God bless his soul. I love this kid. But he would say, absolutely, man. I'm excited. I was happy to be here. Can't wait to be back next week. And I would say to that, absolutely. Go to patreon.com/KoroBloom, where you will find an hour and 10 minutes of content on the front of this episode, ranging from very, very serious topics with me and Joseph to it getting a little more wild the more people join. We talk the heroes don't do that controversy regarding Batman eating pussy. We dive into that.
And what hero would be best at doing it.
And what Marvel heroes would be best at doing it. We certainly talked about that as well. Follow on Twitter at PennyBloomPod, on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Again, that was patreon.com/KoroBloom. And remember, guys, peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves.